Money does indeed make the world go round. Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be very much of it in the Philippines. What with widespread poverty and the curse of underdevelopment, the average Filipino is unfed, underpaid, and uneducated. Now that elections are once again looming over the horizon, the people have begun to clamor for change. But in a climate of increasingly muddled political promises, it's easy to forget that the country's economic future is hinged on this election. So the question is, do we really know what we're voting for? We'd all like a president who can promise to narrow the immense gulf between rich and poor. But to truly understand our poverty and look for real solutions, you must examine its centuries-long history. As economics began to develop with the aid of prominent theorists such as Adam Smith, the Western world reeled with the knowledge that even simple concepts such as the invisible hand and demand and supply could radically alter the workings of entire nations. But economics, like any force of nature, proved at times incompatible with the force of man. The mechanisms of economics sometimes moved much too slowly for mankind in his insatiable desire to make profits, and sometimes too quickly for individuals and corporations to adapt accordingly. To this day, monopolies, asset bubbles, and other market distortions continue to shatter the natural self-correcting mechanisms of the market, and we have felt their consequences time and again. And so the role of economic control fell to the government. But politicking quickly gets in the way of striving towards advancement. By attempting to satisfy the people, errant politicians only wind up dooming them to years of economic stagnation, or worse, collapse. Examples of such instances of politically driven economics abound in the Philippines. Despite an alarming budget deficit of 3.7% of GDP and a public debt of 59.9% of GDP, making the Philippines 27th out of 126 nations in terms of the gravity of public debt, our leaders have yet to shy away from currying populist favor. 2008's Cheaper Medicine Act, while doing nothing to improve the poor's access to medicine, reduced foreign companies' desire to invest in the nation and set an alarming precedent for other industries. Meanwhile, the government's disastrous attempts to place price controls on oil last October precipitated nationwide shortages. The as yet unsigned Senior Citizens Act would, according to Finance Undersecretary Gil Beltran, erase all revenue earned from VAT in 2006. Indeed, the total tax cuts enacted in the winding days of GMA's presidency have burdened the nation with an extra bill of $1.5 billion. On the whole, the Philippine markets have been battered by a barrage of meddling politicians who distort the labor market, cloud the business atmosphere, and enact a fuzz of tangled tax laws. Jobs are scarce, and education even scarcer. It's a devastating tragedy. And yet, it doesn't have to be this way. For decades, governments around the globe have sought to curb only the market's zanier impulses. For while regulation is necessary to correct failures, the market is best left to its own devices. It isn't a coincidence that developed nations have the most liberated markets, while promising nations with abundant resources have seen their growth plummet as their economics blurred into politics. Meanwhile, the Irish have shown that this economically driven politics works. For those slashing public spending and abandoning a 30-year-old social compact with employers and unions unleashed a stream of howls from workers, the economy recently pulled out of recession and halted a spiraling downgrade of debt. The politicians of developed nations have made the most out of the ever-changing market to gear their countries towards extraordinary levels of growth. So what does this mean for the Philippine elections? Our poverty is in large part a result of a sequence of economic misjudgments on the part of our government. Most Filipinos remain ignorant about the workings of economics, and many politicians mercilessly take advantage of the fact. But we can do something about it. Showing that the country actually cares about the candidates' economic policies and budget plans would change the political atmosphere and perhaps reduce the shine of populism. Making an informed decision would force future candidates to learn the limits of their power in the marketplace. Because money may make the world go round, but only we can make the money.